Hey dude, we're filming.
Hey, what's up you guys? I'm glad to see you back on the channel. Today, I'm gonna make a super easy, fast, but fancy recipe for you guys. You know, there's lots of types of soup. One type is like a creamy soup, you know? There's like mushroom creamy soup, broccoli creamy soup. Today I'm gonna make a pumpkin creamy soup for you guys. Now check out, in order to make this creamy soup, you'll need these following ingredients. So you'll need, obviously pumpkin. You can take puree. If you don't have purified pumpkin, what you can do is you can use normal pumpkin, for example, like the big pumpkin, right? And then you cut it into slices, and then you're gonna have to cook it in the following ingredients that I'm gonna tell you. And then what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to use a blender to blend this whole thing into a creamy puree soup. Besides the pumpkin, you'll also need 2 cups of broth. It can be chicken, it can be beef stock, it can be vegetable stock, whatever. You'll also need cream, about 1 cup, but most likely we're gonna use a bit less than that because it's gonna be too fat. You can use 18% or you can use like 33%, whatever you like. Then we'll need some following spices. You'll need a touch of ground mace, a touch of ground cinnamon, a bit more than a touch of ground allspice or just pepper, and then a very little amount of cloves, also ground. If you don't have ground ingredients, what you can do is you can use a hammer or a knife and then just press on it and like hit it so that it crushes and, you know, grounds itself. Now, if you want to make this dish super fancy, you know, like for your date or whatever, you know, whoever you're making it for, what you can do is you'll need these following 2 things, which are just regular chips, any flavor, any kind, any material, and then about half of a strip of bacon. We're gonna make this thing as bacon chips, and then these are obviously chips. Okay, cool. Now let's start making this recipe. To begin with, you'll need a saute pan. We put it on high heat at first, and then once it's warmed up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring it down to like something like 5, you know, middle temperatures. And now we take our puree and we dump it to the saute pan until it starts warming up. Give it a little mix. And make sure that you're not frying your puree because it's not supposed to form any, you know, coloring or crust, because this will prevent from making the mixture homogeneous and like super silky in the end. So you just want to start heating it up, and as soon as you hear the sizzling, that means it's time for our stock to go in. Right, it seems like some noise is coming out of the pan, so it's probably starting to fry now. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump the broth in. I'm gonna start with 1 cup. And then what you want to do is you want to take a whisk. If you don't have a whisk, use a fork, and then just start mixing it until it becomes all super homogeneous, like this. And now we wait for it to start sort of boiling, you know, but not quite. You don't want it to, like, you know, explosively boil. You just want it to warm up so that it, you know, it all mixes nicely together. So now we wait. As soon as bubbles start forming in the soup, which is the case for mine, I'm gonna bring down the temperature to 5, from 8 to 5, you know, from high to middle. And then I'm gonna pour about half the glass of cream and look at what consistency it goes to. and obviously give it a mix. Make sure that you're scrubbing the soup that's left on the sides of pan, because again, your pan is gonna warm up, the thing is gonna start frying, and then when you give it a mix and it goes into the rest of the soup, it's gonna be impossible to mix that thing. So make sure that, best if you have a silicone thingy like this, and then you can just scrub the sides off. You see bubbles are starting to form. That means the soup is starting to boil again. And now you want to add in your spice, but I would start with adding half of every spice, because everybody has different tastes. Like for example, I'm quite sensitive to cinnamon and mace, so you don't want to just dump the entire thing in, because then you're gonna just, you know, spoil the entire soup. So you want to start by putting half in, and then add it to your taste. The cinnamon and the mace are in. Now the cloves and the pepper or allspice, whatever, and give it a mix. The reason why you add your spices when the thing is boiling, because a higher temperature, a hot temperature for the soup, it sort of supplements the opening up of these spices and it enhances the flavor. When you add it to colder soup, it's not gonna be as flavorful. So the same amount would give like a less result. Add some more cream if you feel like your soup is too thick, or you know, get it to the consistency you like. Don't add too much cream, because it's gonna be just too creamy and the entire pumpkin taste is gonna evaporate. Make sure that you always taste what you cook, and then you adjust the spice and saltness. By the way, it's time to add salt. Adjust it to your taste. So I'm gonna add probably like almost half of a teaspoon, and then taste it, and then see how it is. I've tasted what I have, and then it seems like I would have to add a bit more salt and some allspice and the cloves. But again, like if you're sensitive, make sure that you don't add too much, because then your soup is garbage. While the soup is boiling, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our bacon and start cutting it into slices like this. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a hot pan and just put them straight and flat on the surface and wait for all the fat to, you know, go away. And then we're gonna dry the bacon to make the bacon chips. And when your bacon has got rid of all the fat and it's dry, it's time to make the dish and put it in, you know, plate it. We're gonna take the soup, you know, you can use your imagination and do it however you like. I'm just gonna put it in the plate, obviously. That's not quite hard to ponder. And then what I'm just gonna do is, I'm gonna take the chips and probably break them, oops, nope, into halves, something like that maybe, if it didn't fall apart. Then just stick them in around like that in a circle. And then just put my bacon on top. Something like that. So there's my dish. This is again the pumpkin creamy soup. This thing is super easy to make. As long as you have pumpkin cream and stock, You can replace it with water, you don't have to have stock. Yeah, so as long as you have those ingredients, you can knock it up in like 10-15 minutes. Honestly, this doesn't take any time. It looks quite fancy, it tastes even better. Trust me, I've already tried it. So, thanks for watching this video. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Please don't forget to comment, subscribe, leave your likes, and enjoy your food. Thanks.